What I love about Noordgesig is the people. I think the people makes Noordgesig what it is.
In Noordgesig, there's a big sense of family.
What I love about this place is very talented. We have chartered accountants, we have lawyers, we have professional soccer players like Morgan Golden, you name it.
The people here are very, friendly.
It's a small community. Everybody knows everybody around here. We assist each other.
We uplift each other if there's a problem. Yes.
And we cover one another's back.
I love my community. That's why I want us to pet in Noordgesig.
Noordgesig is the place to be.
The city of Johannesburg has embarked on a new spatial vision for the city, in line with the Growth and Development Strategy 2040, based on Corridor Transit-Orientated Development, TOD. These developments will include high-density accommodation supported by commercial and retail development with sufficient leisure and recreational opportunities. This is the story of Noordgesig, its people and their vision for their city.
By optimizing the right mix of economic, recreational, educational and tertiary spaces, you are actually placing people at the center of the city, and you're bringing the citizens at the core of the planning processes of the city, which is what the Corridors of Freedom really tries to optimize on.
The city planning department, when they look at upgrading and implementing projects, they obviously look all around the city. But one of the things that they've realized is that they actually need to have very focused areas for development to see a real transformation.
The Noordgesig Social Cluster project lies within the Empire Perth corridor and was identified due to its key linkages to the Noordgesig BRT station, Soweto Highway and Mookie Street arterial transport routes.
These bigger plans that the city has are very important for Noordgesig. Even though Noordgesig might seem like a small piece in a big plan of corridor, it's an important piece. It's effectively the gateway into the larger Soweto area.
It's been called the social cluster because this existing social cluster not only forms the heart of the area in terms of where it's located, but also in terms of the function that it fulfills.
The process unfolded through a co-production of design, bringing the community into the space, really engaging them on the way we actually unpack the precinct plan and the ideas for Noordgesig. This is more effective than your traditional means because it brings the community, it brings your city agencies and your service providers or your professional teams together to produce one final product, and therefore the ownership then from the community side is greater.
We are coordinating a team of consultants that range from our urban designers, AYA, and then we also have our community participation consultants. They coordinate the meetings with the different stakeholders, and then we also have a team of specialists. So we have quite a multidisciplinary team that is actually involved behind the scenes in bringing and putting up the project together.
The challenge we have in Noordgesig is the fact that there is a social problem in terms of drugs. Unemployment is a problem.
My heart is going out for the youth.
There is 2 little houses for the amount of people that is living in Noordgesig.
And we really like to see more development taking place in this area, because this area has been neglected for years and has been secluded.
We have a big problem in Noordgesig with the youngsters, drug houses, and there isn't really things for the youngsters to do. And this will really uplift the people. And it's not only the youngsters in Noordgesig that needs upliftment. A lot of people are unemployed and there is no jobs for them.
It's not good to, as a kid growing up in Noordgesig.
There's a sense that Noordgesig is not recognized, not even as part of Soweto. So we feel like we outsiders.
The Johannesburg Development Agency decided to try a new model and a new approach.
We've had a number of engagements with the communities where we had the community coming in to give us their insights on what we were trying to achieve with the social precinct, so that that can inform the design that the architects and the urban designers are going to put together.
Through all of those sessions, that was where the development of the precinct plan actually was extrapolated, where we saw the details of the precinct plan as well as identified projects that could be undertaken in the area.
In my first meeting, we sat and we visualized the maps, and then we pinpointed certain areas of Noordgesig on the map that we thought was of earnest and urgent development.
The river and open spaces hold health hazards for the community of Noordgesig and the surroundings, which is Ghost Town and Deep Kloof.
We're actually on making safe crossings.
What I would love to see is a better Noordgesig, a future for the generation after me.
The bottom of the railway line, at the last street, there is nothing that is actually being discussed about there. You know, that can also be converted into a park or something, you understand?
The last time I had my eyes when I looked down Model Street, right at the bottom in the corner, can't we open up there to have an inroad coming in from there?
Can't we utilize some of the space where we can have our local post office, our little SARS office? We don't have any of these in the township.
I'd like to see the people of this community to actually value the school, so that in 5 years from now I can come in and I can say proudly that I was part of this school. I was part of moving this school's generation forward.
I really do want to be the change that I want to see in Noordgesig.
I would like to see music everywhere.
I want a recreation center for the youth. We want to see Noordgesig beautiful.
How about we implement cycling, because more people are into cycling?
We came up with an idea of having a school magazine that is designed by the learners.
We should look at developing quality and proper infrastructure for our kids.
We must stop building houses next to mine dumps, please. It's a health hazard all over.
The schools, there's no paving right around the building. With the result, the lives of our children is endangered because of that.
They're quite dynamic in their quest for change, and I think this was quite exciting and quite important in our process, because that's where, at the heart of it, where all of these ideas for change started to come out.
Some key urban strategies that emerged from and are supported through the co-production are improved connectivity and interface between Noordgesig and its neighbours, pedestrian prioritization and non-motorized transportation devices along key routes, social facilities and around public transport hubs, public environment upgrades, nodal opportunities along arterial roads for better placemaking and intensification, ecological and recreational opportunities of the open space system, intensification of portions of land to accommodate additional facilities, mixed use and economic opportunities, green infrastructure, preservation of heritage.
What we've put together as the precinct plan is a combination of what the community raised and what the professional urban designers and team presented to them as well.
I think the other thing that we're trying to achieve is to elicit enough
engagement within the community itself that they actually take an interest in this.
Everybody's got the input of how Noordgesig will look like and what we're going to do about Noordgesig. So I think that's the best solution that we have come. It's not from one source only.
Getting real input from the community to inform the design is so invaluable to this design process. We can come in and out of sight and we can spend as much time as possible. But speaking to people who've lived here for years, who've walked these streets, who've experienced the place in a way that we will never experience it, just to be fortunate enough to get all that input to inform the design has been amazing.
I think when people participate in the development of Noordgesig, I think they will look after things and I think they will feel part of it. If people don't participate, they feel that the authorities just came and put down things that they didn't want.
They'll own the whole project and they will take care of that. And that is important for people to have a say, because just from outside looking in, but we from the inside also looking out.
I think it's made for a really rich design and really rich proposals.
It really opens up opportunities. It allows people to start thinking about space differently and thinking about themselves differently. And that pride allows you to actually accelerate your own growth.
The importance of co-producing designs leads to ownership of the project. What that means is the product that we deliver is sustainable just purely by the community themselves. It has a longer lifespan and it has a much better success rate.
Noordgesig is a vibrant community in Soweto, strategically located as a gateway suburb into the Empire Perth corridor and is therefore a priority area for development. It lies immediately north of its neighbour, Orlando East, and was established as a tented camp in 1939 during forced locations. The development was strongly influenced by apartheid planning that resulted in its separation from the rest of the city.
History and heritage is always important in any social environment, and in order for us to build any urban form, we need to respond to the social environment. So we had to spend a little bit more time engaging them on their stories, getting the oral narrations of history. Quite a rich layer of heritage has come out, and I think that this is very important for their own sense of identity and how we tell the story in the future of Noordgesig by what happened in the past.
And it's basically to make sure that we know where important heritage sites are, that the city knows where these sites are, and that important sites get protected in the event of any upgrades being done here in Noordgesig. Part of that is really about doing proper archival research, finding documentary evidence, documenting particularly the early history of Noordgesig, because some of the elders of the community have died out and a lot of that oral histories are basically lost.
I think about 50% of us here on this bus don't know that this street that we're looking at, this is called Bergo Street. It's an heritage site on its own, because a part of it being one of the oldest streets in Noordgesig, it used to be a cemetery as well. There used to be a cemetery located along the street.
Noordgesig is such an undiscovered area. It's not as well documented as other areas. It's so unique to work in an environment like this where there's this rich history that's actually just undocumented. Who knew Nelson Mandela was actually in Noordgesig?
While we were doing the research, we realized how much interesting history is in this suburb and how much interesting people living here. The community is so involved in the history, you cannot just take it away. If you would take it away, you would take away the integrity and the history of the people.
This community were all the time involved in the riots and all those things, and we felt that Noordgesig is not important for the government. They just stuck us one side and it was like nothing is developing.
Actually, Noordgesig has probably as rich political and struggle heritage as other communities, but it's hidden, it's not known.
How can we make something sustainable for the future, for the community, in terms of their history and their heritage?
Whatever we design needs to respond to the social environment and the urban context within which it's situated.
History and heritage is central to how we see ourselves and to our identity as individuals, communities, and as a nation. A detailed heritage assessment and study formed part of the planning of the precinct and involved focused workshopping of its own to capture the identity of Noordgesig and the way that it is showcased in a future Johannesburg.
This project will actually mean a lot to the community in terms of the social spaces that will be created, in terms of upgrading the spaces as well. It's something that the community can have spaces that they can interact in. As part of the project, we want to bring spaces that engage the youth, distract the youth from going down the paths of drugs, which has been a problem that has been cited in the communities.
You know, that we have to start somewhere, and I think we are at the starting point at the moment.
City planning and citizen planning need to be brought together, they need to be aligned, and they need to be co-productive. There's a change in the way the community is viewing a city project. There's a change in the way they're viewing their space and how they see their future in their space. By involving themselves in the drafting or the planning of the precinct plan, they can very clearly see their input into the future, and they can very clearly see their contribution to that. That's the richest outcome. It's seeing that sense of ownership, it's seeing that sense of responsibility and pride. The identity of Noordgesig has been captured in this plan. Going forward, it gives the city a plan for the next 5 to 10 years that will always be accepted by the people and will always be a reflection of their social context.
So this will be a great thing for the children and even for the old people, because there's even things for the old people to do.
I can see that there will be a livelihood and an uplift of the people.
I mean, with the new developments coming, it's going to do a lot for this place. And our upcoming youngsters, at least they'll have something to look after.
We're doing this for the coming generation so that they can have a better place to stay in and a better future as well.
I'll say happy. I can't wait to see what actually Noordgesig ends up looking like. It's going to bring in a peace because people actually be in an environment they're actually proud to be around.
I'm quite excited about everything, especially the extension of the library, also the hall, because I come to the library a lot. By building the bridges and the sidewalks, it's going to make it safe for everybody.
They are making a difference for us now. It's going to be much safer.
This initiative is good for the community. It will create jobs for us.
Yeah, there will be more to live for.
I really commend you guys for doing this, what you're doing now, and also bringing the broader community to have a say.
I say thank you very much. I've been longing for this. I always had hope that there will be a change in Noordgesig, and finally there is change.
We just want to thank all the stakeholders, and you guys has now come in so that we make Noordgesig a better place. I want to just thank you guys.